You're listening to Puma Podcast.
Ano yung mga gusto mong ma-highlight na essential public health services na readily available but often overlooked by everyone na meron?
Sige, I'll just run through. Actually, sinulat ko siya. Tapos pati ako na-surprise na napakarami niya. So, first, di ba, meron in general na health center, nagpo-provide, di ba, ng medical consultation. So, that would be for adults and children. Then, there is also prenatal consultation and postpartum, meaning pagkapanganak na follow-up. Then, for children, lahat ng pinaka-basic na kailangan ng isang bata na bakuna ay nasa health center na. What else do we have? Anti-rabies sa government institutions. And also recently, tinatry din na i-institutionalize mental health. So, currently in our LGU, nagsistart na kumbaga mag-distribute ng medicines for mental health, some mental health conditions.
Public healthcare in the Philippines has a negative image for many people. Long lines of patients, lack of supplies and equipment, shortage of doctors and staff. People who have the money or health coverage would opt to go to private hospitals, while people who don't have the money just don't bother to get medical care at all and suffer in silence. In this episode, we speak to Dr. Cecil Francisco, an internal medicine specialist and public health physician in the city of Manila. We discuss the challenges faced by public health facilities, the possible reasons behind the perception that they provide substandard care, and the many essential services they provide for free. I'm Hannah Grace, and you are listening to Teka Teka, powered by Puma Podcast. Okay, so today we're with Dr. Cecil Francisco. So before we start, can you please talk about your journey in medicine, your background, specialization mo, and your experience in both public and private healthcare, diba? And what led you to where you are today?
Nag-med school ako sa isang government university under an LGU. That's for 4 years. Tapos 2 years of junior internship and postgraduate internship at a government hospital still under the LGU. And then after that, doon ako nagpunta sa private, nag-residency training or specialty training in internal medicine for 3 years at a private hospital. Then private practice for another 10 years. And then siguro lahat naman tayo during the COVID pandemic, so nag-re-evaluate ng ating mga buhay at ang ating mga priorities. So, during that time, I decided to come back to the government sector. So, currently, I am on my 3rd year again, working as a public health physician at a health center in a city here in Metro Manila.
So, eto ngayon, kasi in the Philippines, diba? So, you had to transition from public to private and then back to public, diba? Yung work mo. But I know that in the Philippines, there's a common belief that public healthcare is substandard, at least when you compare it to private healthcare. So, but what are the biggest challenges sa public healthcare that you think you are facing or even systemically? And how does those challenges, gaano siya katotoo? Okay? Sa experience mo?
So, I think yung pinaka-main naman na perception ng public and also the reality din when you're on the ground is that supplies are really limited. So, kumbaga, hindi lang supplies like yung gamit, kundi pati yung gamot. And also, hindi lang din naman yung in-kind or yung material things, but also the manpower is lacking. So, I think, kung ano naman yung na-perceive ng tao or ng public, yun na talaga yung reality natin. Even if I'm based in a city, meron pa rin talagang parang kumbaga mga kulang pa rin. And I think mula nung estudyante ko as a medical student in a government hospital, that was like I don't know, almost 20 years ago. And then now it's still similar. The status is does health the state of healthcare is very similar to when I was still a student. So I think nung iniisip ko 'to parang rin talaga siya, eh. It's a question of kumbaga parang supply and demand also. Kasi for example, like in my city, I had to research pa, 'di ba, exactly how many people. So around 1.6 million people in my city. And then, yes, right now for the year of 2025. And our city has around 40 plus health centers. So I did the math and lumalabas. Imagine that would amount to like one health center for around 30 something thousand people. So imagine this is in public healthcare. So imagine if that like in our center, I'm blessed because there are 3 doctors in our um center, but imagine in other centers they only have 1 doctor. So imagine 1 doctor catering to 30 plus thousand people.
Paapat kayo, ay, tatlo kayo sa center.
Tatlo. Yeah, but it's still like 1:10,000.
kahit na, kahit na isang beses lang pumunta sa isang taon yung bawat isang yon.
So, syempre, rin naman, di ba? Time is finite. So, you can only check so many people in a day, in like 8 hours in a day. Tapos, ilang days lang din in a week na bukas yung health center. So, dun pa lang sa fact na yon, makikita mo na kulang. What more yung supply ng gamot and ng gamit, paano mo siya pagkakasyahin sa ganun kadami? And this is like an urbanized city. What more if I have no experience but I can only imagine the challenges sa mga rural, lalo na yung malalayo. Kasi sa atin, in Metro Manila, halos dikit-dikit naman, di ba? Ang bahay mo is malapit sa center or sa hospital or sa churches, palengke. But what if nasa province ka? So I can't even really imagine how they make do in those situations.
So yung ganong lack of manpower, is it because hindi binabudgetan, walang budget? Or what do you think, or kung alam mo, just in case you know, is the reason kung bakit ganun kadami? Walang gustong mag-apply or hindi lang siya napaprioritize ng government?
Ako kasi speaking from what I know lang naman to sa LGU, kasi like pagka nung 'di ba kasi because of universal healthcare, parang mas active ang PhilHealth with coordinating with the local government, the local health departments. Pero even sa kanila, ang requirement lang nila to be accredited for a facility to be accredited under the PhilHealth as a primary care, meaning you give the first line service to patients, is 1 doctor for every 20,000 population. And I don't know why kung bakit ganun yung bilang nila.
Oo nga.
I think some of the challenges that we see is parang galing din from the top before mapunta sa amin at the bottom. Kasi I think if even if the people on the ground would like to work or cater to more people, to other patients, to more patients, if the ones on the parang kung nga, in position, their priority is on other things like infrastructure, for example. So, syempre, yung allocation ng budget and positions might also be affected. So, kasi sa amin ngayon, it's not really, current situation, it's not really a matter of walang nag-a-apply. Kasi actually, ang daming newly hired doctors in our LGU. So, I think it's more of, I guess, yung distribution of the of the positions and also the budget na parang ma-realign better, I guess. Or ayun, yung planning siguro kasi hindi lang kami, it's under the city. So even if the health department has these needs, pero it has to be approved by the city itself. So ganun yung sa LGU. I don't know about the national government institutions.
So, mukhang systemic talaga yung problem more than yung manpower na supply natin ng manpower, which are the doctors. Although I think kulang din talaga yung doktor sa Pilipinas, no? Pero mukhang right now, mas problema talaga yung natin, systems and institution.
Yeah. Kasi kumbaga, meron kasing parang process, 'di ba, step by step. So kumbaga, yun yung you have to follow the process, but that's sometimes the cause of the kumbaga restrictions or the delay. So ayun. And I also want to add, kasi I think ako rin, siguro guilty rin ako nitong perception nito before, na parang kapag ka sa public um, institution, yung isang doktor or healthcare worker, na ano sila, kumbaga yun lang yung narating nila. Hindi sila enough, kumbaga, na makapasa to in or makapasok inside the private institution. Pero nung nandun na ako ngayon sa isang government health department, doon ko nakita na actually very regular ang trainings, not just for doctors but also the nurses, the midwives, the health workers. Siguro every quarter or at least twice a year, merong mga, or kahit man lang once a year, merong mga special trainings. So, hindi sila, they are just healthcare workers in the public healthcare system are as competent as the ones in the private healthcare system.
Yung isang tanong ko, kasi gusto ko yung na-mention mo yung perception na yun ng mga tao. So, I don't think lang na it's just about training. Kaya lang that's always a problem na nagsaspan across madaming public institutions sa atin na pag government, ang tingin na ng mga tao, tamad yung mga nagtatrabaho doon, whether sa cashier lang na part, yung yung pag di ba? Or at least ngayon kasi meron ng no lunch break, ganyan, so medyo nag-iba. Pero people usually think na mas lax yung trabaho sa gobyerno, no? Kaya siguro, pati sa healthcare, ganun din yung tingin ng mga tao. I don't think it's because they look down on the doctors who are working there, but rather it might be the general perception ng mga tao sa government natin and sa government workers. Ayun, parang nag-bleed in na yun. Tingin ko lang ha, kasi unless alam nilang tipong PGH, yung mga gano'n na parang dinudumog ng sobra ng tao. Pero yung isang tanong ko, so I think na-mention na to with the doctors, but if there's anything else, what do you wish pala more people would understand about the strengths of public healthcare system despite its challenges? So, yung strength na nakikita mo ng public healthcare that you think people are missing or don't realize?
I think, actually, I mentioned it earlier, pero with the, kasi yung pinupush nga natin ngayon na universal healthcare, actually, what is just asked of a patient when he or she comes into the healthcare, in the health center or in the hospital, is just your PhilHealth ID. You don't even need na may hulog yung ID mo. Unless admitted ka. Siyempre, kailangan may hulog yung PhilHealth mo. Pero even in the health center, hindi ka naman tatanggihan. Kasi even kumbaga, kahit wala kang pera, kahit sa amin in my area, kahit street dweller ka, pumunta ka sa health center, gagamutin ka. Walang tinatanong na may pambayad ka ba. Tapos, yun nga, you are prescribed medicine na hopefully available. So, libre mo makukuha yon. And kung kailangan mo ng mga diagnostic exams, like in our institution, we don't have an x-ray, but we do have an ECG. Tapos, pag sa hospital is, yun nga, pwede yung x-ray, pwede yung ultrasound, na ang ano lang talaga is kailangan mo ng patience. Kasi nga, laging pila. Yun lang naman. Pero, kung ano, imagine na how much an x-ray or an ECG would cost in a private diagnostic. Pipila ka lang, pero kung sa government, malilibre ka na doon. So, I think yun nga, yung sinabi mo nga na perception na, is it worth the pila at masungitan ka or may ma-encounter ka na mainit ang ulo, dun sa makukuha mo na service. Kumbaga, ibabalance mo siya eh. Pero I think, I would like to believe nga, sabi ko nga before na, in general naman, lahat ng karamihan ng nasa healthcare system, kaya naman nandun, is talagang service-oriented. Kasi that's how healthcare workers are trained from their professions, from school. So, nung kumbaga kailangan mo lang magbaon ng pasensya and don't be afraid kahit na takot ka na mabulyawan ka. Don't be afraid to ask kasi kaya ka nga nagtatanong kasi hindi mo sure, hindi mo alam. Kasi baka yung kailangan mong service, kailangan mong tulong is can be provided by the center, the hospital.
Mm. Actually, yung sinabi mo nga, meron na palang ECG. Tama, hindi ko alam yung mga ganyan. Nasa health center pa lang. Akala ko pag yung mga bigger hospitals na ng government, tsaka lang magkakaroon ng ganon, di ba?
I think kasi, kulang lang siguro sa information drive because dun sa universal healthcare, the thrust of that program or that program is parang talagang primary care. So, ibig sabihin nun, almost all the kumaga first line na kailangan sa health is ibibigay ng mga centers. And then the workers in the centers would assess if you would need to be seen by specialists na in the hospital. So, kaya tinatry ng government na kumaga punuan kung ano yung mga pinaka-importante, pinaka-kailangan, ando na siya sa mga health center. Para bago ka, hindi mo kailangan agad paratingin sa hospital kasi na-address na yung basic na illnesses dun pa lang sa health center. That's where the government is going towards. Actually, ongoing nga siya. Katulad nung yan, binanggit ko. Marami nang available at least in our LGU. So hopefully, sunod-sunod na yan across the Philippines, hopefully.
Sana nga, 'di ba? Let's hope. I know it's not that easy pero let's hope for that. So, actually na-mention mo na yung ilan and the fact na ang kulang talaga is information dissemination. Pero yung isang thing is ako kasi yung tanong ko kasi ito pero may sagot din ako for it. Kung ano yung mga gusto mong ma-highlight na essential public health services na readily available but often overlooked by everyone na meron. So, na-mention mo na yung iba dyan, like x-rays, ganyan. Ako yung isang favorite ko actually is vaccination. Kasi parang ako, lahat ng anak ko, dinala ko sila sa health center. Maganda kasi sa health center namin sa maunti lagi yung pila. I mean, madami, pero para mo sa Metro Manila, pag nasa Laguna ka, yung area namin, maliit yung barangay namin. The first few times na dinala ko dun yung anak ko, alam mo yung tanong sa akin ng mga tao, "Ma'am, ba't dito ka pumipila? Pwede naman sa doktor nyo." Parang, sabing huwag ka dito. Pero people are surprised. Parang ang tingin ng mga tao, kung may pangbayad ka, mas maganda ang vaccine. sa doktor ko, aba hindi mas maganda kasi may bayad yun. Pero hindi naiintindihan ng mga tao, it's just the same quality, 'di ba? And lalo na ngayon na 5-in-1 na rin, hindi na yung ilang turok kasi dati mas madami yung turok. So, yun yung favorite ko na I wish more people would take advantage of. Kasi why would you kasi hindi covered na HMO yun eh. So why would you shell out money for that? Kasi feeling mo mas maganda. So, yan. Pero ano pa yung iba siguro? Malamang hindi ko alam.
Sige, I'll just run through. Actually, sinulat ko siya. Tapos pati ako na-surprise na napakarami niya. So, first, di ba, meron sa in general na health center, nagpo-provide, di ba, ng medical consultation. So, that would be for adults and children. Then, there is also prenatal consultation and postpartum, meaning pagkapanganak na follow-up. Then, for children, nabanggit mo nga, there's immunization. So, if may lying in yung inyong government institution, binibigyan siya doon 2 bakuna agad, the BCG and hepatitis B. Tapos, paglabas niyo pa after a few weeks, babalik kayo until mag 1-year-old siya, ando na yung tinatawag nating essential na immunization, which is you are aware of, di ba? The 5-in-1, we have that, the measles, rubella, pneumococcal for pneumonia, so polio. So, lahat ng pinaka-basic na kailangan ng isang bata na bakuna ay nasa health center na. Nagkaroon din recently in the last few years ng HPV for papillomavirus para sa mga 9 years old above. That's protection against genital warts and cervical cancer. Then sa adults, may vaccination din. Di ba, naging issue nga yan a few months back. Pero sa adults, meron din binibigay usually yearly na flu vaccine and if available, pneumococcal vaccination. So, yon, doon pa lang sa vaccination, ang dami na. And then, sa prenatal, we give tetanus toxoid. We also give vitamins. We give vitamin A supplementation. We give deworming. That's also for children. Pero kung ayaw mo namang mabuntis, we have a family planning program. Most would have oral contraceptive pills. Some would have the injectable. Some would have the implant. Some would have the IUD. Napakarami. Then, sa iba naman, in terms of diseases, then as now, meron tayong libreng gamot for tuberculosis. Then, also for HIV, some institutions would have free HIV screening. Diba? Yan yung, ngayon, maingay ngayon on the news because the numbers are continuously increasing. So, we have HIV screening. And also, if you are confirmed to be positive for HIV, you have the free antiretroviral therapy. Or you can choose to have the pre-exposure, meaning wala ka pang disease pero meron ng gamot na pwede kang inumin to prevent HIV. What else do we have? Anti-rabies sa government institutions. And also recently, tinatry din na i-institutionalize mental health. So, currently in our LGU, nagsistart na kumbaga mag-distribute ng medicines for mental health, some mental health conditions.
That is big because medicines usually for mental health is very expensive. mas mahal siya than other maintenance medication.
Yes. Some of them are very hard to get kasi kailangan ng special prescription, special license to be prescribed those medicine.
Ayun nga, I think for a lot of people, isang barrier yun eh. You get checked and then the doctor tells you, kailangan mo sana mag-medicate to help you. Siyempre, hindi ka okay kasi right now, mental health yung issue mo. And then you realize you're gonna have to shell out thousands for the medicine. Made-depress talaga uli ako.
Oo nga.
Wag na lang. Kung wala kang pang thousands for medicine. So, the fact na nagbibigay yung at least Manila government for that. But I didn't know na ganyan na madaming LGU na supposedly din. Kasi alam ko sa sa National Mental Health,
Yeah.
ano yun yung
NCMH, National Center for Mental Health.
nagbibigay din sila 'di ba ng free medicine doon. I thought very select ano lang hospitals yung nakapagbigay. So that's nice to know. So if someone asks pala, it would be good to tell them since we don't know, ask the LGU, no? Baka meron yung city nyo or yung barangay nyo pala na free medication for that. Okay. So ang dami-dami palang ano no, services talaga na offered now na. Wala namang ganyan, yung pala ang dami na talaga. So for people who want to be able to access public healthcare services but don't know where to start, where do you think, what would your advice be na kung saan yung maging starting point nila?
I think kasi ang ano nga, ang parang trust ng government is you go to the primary care facility. Yun na yung ating ano ngayon mindset. Yung hindi ka diretso sa hospital or sa specialist. So just go to the health center nearest them. Kasi sa ano is 'di ba katulad nung nabanggit mo kanina na per barangay yan. Kumbaga merong area catered to by a certain health center. So just go to the nearest health center and usually meron naman doon na like in our facility, merong schedule of services. It's like a tarpaulin or infographic na that has the schedule for the whole week of whatever services are available in the facility. And as I mentioned then earlier, just don't be afraid to ask. So, pero be early. I think that's also important. Kasi, yun nga, talagang yung iba, parang 5 o'clock pa lang nandun na sila. So, if you come at like late in the mid-morning or in the afternoon, baka pabalikin ka na for the next day.
Hindi naman yung pila ng sobra ngayon mauuna next day. Start all over again yung pila.
Yes. Walang reservation. So, kailangan mo talagang first come, first serve. You have to line up.
Ito naman, last na question ko na I think is that balik tayo dun sa private-public healthcare, okay? So, how do you think or what can the private and public healthcare do to work better together to bridge the gaps and deliver better care to Filipinos? Kasi ngayon parang medyo malaki yung divide or I think baka perception ko yun. Is there a way to bridge the gaps?
I think yung ano rin, kailangan isipin na it's not a competition because we are all doing the same service, providing healthcare service to people. And I think ang maganda din doon in my experience kasi in our institution, na government, the private hospitals, private medical schools would partner with us to have their patients, medical students, nursing students, midwifery students, be exposed to the community. So, kumbaga, I think they also recognize the weakness then of private healthcare na hindi lahat naman is like for a paying patient, hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na pag-aaralan ka ng estudyante ko, di ba? Some would not like that. So, they would bring the students to our facility and they would go on duty. So, the students are exposed to how the healthcare provision in the community works. So, yung mga ganong initiatives, I think, would help so that, kumbaga, their minds are open. Kasi ito is talagang mga, kumbaga, some of these students are well-to-do na alam mo, hindi sila ganun ka-exposed sa mga dikit-dikit na mga bahay, ganun kadaming tao, ganun kainit na lugar. So, when they go to the community, to the government facility, they understand the situation more. And hopefully, na-encourage din sila na some of them, instead of going to private practice, would also think about going to the government service.
So I think that's it. So thank you so much for your time. Yeah, I know you're so busy. So thank you for sharing your knowledge and experience with us.
That's it for this episode of Teka Teka. I'm Hannah Grace. This episode is engineered by Anthony Tobias. J. Mark Tordesillas is our editor at large. If you like how we do conversations, follow us on Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. For more updates, we are also on Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok. Thanks for listening, and until next time.